and you know you're looking for why you actually have jam. Nenga bana abantu abakola line eyokubiri abakola line zino eziri emanga egamba want to find reasons naye nga tozirabo. That's why it's better to go to pass uptown when you and of course n'abantu abatamanyi mmoloka abatubeera mu maaso buli ayagala yamuyingira mu mulenge ajja yamuyingiramu takisi zakamuyingiramu nga mukaaga. Runners should not be on the road. We should have supervisors. Ate musajja, men should know how to drive. Bannange, men should know how to drive. Like Solomon morning. Ndakulaba wano kosa eringa eyiyo. Sajja ajeyagaza, he put new tires, he has music, he has a TV. Basically, he's enjoying himself. Good morning, Chris Da Vinci. Good morning, Gaetano. I hope you guys are doing well. Naye nataka katuvuga line ya kusatu. Baba abali mu line eyokusatu. Bagenze dda abakoze line eyokusatu babaddeyo Subaru, babaddeyo Benz. Bo bavuga eyo line. Natandika givuga. Koso jana ya Solomon. Koso jitunda musanvu. We yagadde. Oyina okumpa kasente. Nze nakuyamba ntujugula layisi. Atenga musanvu bajja zikuwa. Nkasa otunda nga topapa nanti. Utunda to papa, you get your money. Utundo papa, you don't. But of course, you need to tell a number of brokers. You tell a number of brokers, and you send me pictures of that car, and I post them for you. You share pictures of the current condition of the car, and I post them on the community tab for the love of cars. 7 million tosaleko kanywa katia. How does it consume? Morning. Yeah guys, but yeah indeed Stephen, some of us learned defensive driving by force. Did not go to driving school. Guy can be in the road and over 10 cars enter nga tamanyicha zako taxi nga munana nezimu yingira gana kati bana abantu. It's past patience. It's not really patience. It's not knowing how to drive. You get. Yeah, but I hope guys are doing well. I'm okay. I'm healthy. I'm breathing. Grateful to life. Bumanyi botabera grateful. Ebiseera ebisinga ate n'ebirungi bwe bijja tobe recognizing because of you're still sulking about things that are not going well in your life when you actually have things that are going well. So every one of us has things that are going well. Let's try to be grateful before we start looking at the things that are not going well. First and foremost, you're breathing. You're not in a hospital. You don't need oxygen. You don't need like external oxygen put on your nose. You don't need water put in your veins. You don't need blood still put in your veins. So you don't need clutches. You're walking very normally. You can use your hands. You can use your eyes. You can actually hear. You can talk with your mouth. So those are basic things that we should actually be grateful for. Good morning, Gideon. Long time. You should also be grateful to the fact that you can use all your senses. But anyway, today I want to talk about why you may actually regret owning one, and not just a car, owning anything. You can regret owning stuff. Anything that anybody can own can actually end up being one of the biggest mistakes you have ever made. And sometimes we don't recognize until we are in there. Then you start thinking oba na papa oba nali sinatuuka oba nali nyagula chikachira. Then you start thinking about things like that. Sometimes regret is not really because that item that you bought was the wrong item, or that you bought it at the wrong time. Sometimes the regret will come. Good morning, cancel. Sometimes the regret will come because you don't actually know, hey, wasubaru uno tumusanze, so I don't really feel that bad. Zino Subaru zako ziraini hakuna zaise na mwala naye tuzisanze wano jam knows no friend. So sometimes your regret will actually come because you don't know the actual use of that item that you bought, and because you don't know the actual use of the item you bought, you end up using it for the wrong things and it doesn't pay off. And sometimes you buy at the wrong price. Sometimes you buy at the wrong price. Waliwo gwe batomedde side mirror eyise omanyi kati fa baddeko mu accident eza entonotono, because I've never actually been in a big accident where you lose a life or where you help lose a life, but I've been in those small accidents where side mirrors fall, where windscreens break, so I know the sound. I know the sound of side mirrors, I know the sound of windscreens, I know the sound of bumpers breaking. Hey, sorry. That particular part wasn't cleaned. Yeah. So I want to talk about probably reasons why you may end up regretting owning one. In our case, for the love of cars, we normally talk about a car, but me and you, we know that it doesn't necessarily have to be just a car. I know someone that bought an oven, and you know those big ovens, not these small ones that are used to warm food, but those big ones where you have like burners on the top, and then you have an oven at the bottom. Those big ones, and this person clearly says that they were told, maybe you should not buy one, maybe you're not ready, maybe you should first keep your money and things like that. Naye munaye nga tawulira naye kati sayini gyenvuddemu ng'erabika nga ate egenda okudduka okusinga gyenzizeemu. So and in the end, when this person actually bought the oven, now the oven should be something like, whenever I say an item, you should put an item that you probably regretted buying at a certain moment and put that item in place of the item that I'm talking about. So if you regretted buying a car, then you should probably put a car in the place of an oven. So apparently this person bought the oven at a time that they did not need it. They did not really need it then, and they hadn't calculated the other variables. Variables are the situations that exist around a certain condition or situation you're creating. So they hadn't calculated the variables. For example, when I'm driving, I have two variables. The first two kinds of variables. The first variable is that the car is in good condition and it moves. That's a variable that I can probably control, that I can probably maintain. The second variable is that the people on the road that I'm driving with drive properly and we don't get any other problems. The third variable is that I keep sane and I don't cause problems myself. So Yarita was a variable. The initial idea of buying the oven was to start a small business where they would make chicken and sell it. Okay? And what this person hadn't calculated, that they still had another job. This job would make them quite busy. So this person thought that they could actually manage doing this other job as well as make the chicken in the oven. And in the end, this job kept her busy and she couldn't manage the chicken business. And in the end, the location where this person was located, she shifted from that place. Atenga yali aba kutunda the chicken. She went to another location where she could not, and then she ended up selling the oven. Jiyagura $1 million. She sold it about 600,000. Yet it was still in new condition. And normally at the times that the regrets come in, people want to go back to the people that told them, because normally when the regrets are coming, you should go back to the person that told you should not probably do this, should not make this decision. That person might actually have a solution for you. But normally, I think there is that kind of shame that stops people from going back to the initial knowledge givers. Yet I happen to believe that at a moment like that, you should go back to the person that gave you the initial advice that you did not follow and ask them, okay, I made this mistake. You told me not to, but now I know it was a mistake. What do you think I should do? And at moments like that, that person would actually give you a very good piece of advice on how to handle whatever you're going through. But apparently, the shame stops people from going back. So this person ended up selling their oven at a very cheap price to do other things, which take it, and the oven took other things with it, which take it. Yet if she had kept that Kamani Akagura oven and kept it at the time when she sold the oven, she would have more money, which take it. So and this happens with literally everything: plots of land, houses, cars, phones, which take it. I'll give you another example. Before I upgraded my phone to S20, one of my cousins wanted to buy a phone, and her budget was 200k. And I told her, you know what, I'm going to upgrade my phone. I can give you an Infinix that I have at home that I'm not using, and you'll be using it for some time, okay? And when it comes time for me to upgrade, I can give you this S8 because this was an S8 Plus. I can give you this S8 Plus at 200k. There's no way you're going to get an S8 Plus at 200,000, right? But I was going, because she's my cousin, so I will give you this S8 Plus at 200,000 if only you can be patient, right? And then you give me the 200k, then you give me back my Techno. But that very day, this person wanted to go back with a phone, a Samsung, at 200,000. The 200,000 could not buy a Samsung, but this guy offered to give us the S6 Edge at 210. So what I did, I topped up the 10k, upgrade S6 Edge. What happened? Only to get home, now the S6 Edge can't use WhatsApp. You get it? So you can imagine a phone that cannot use a thing as simple as WhatsApp. And she had to upgrade software, which led the phone to freezing, switching itself off. Switching itself off. Why don't you go later? It's late. So that's, I'm sure, the kind of regret came back to her at that moment, because the S8 Edge would have done everything that she wanted and more. Because remember me, I normally buy phones for use. I bought the S8 Edge to do work for the love of cars. Which take it. Before I started this channel for the love of cars, I didn't have a Samsung. No, I actually had a Samsung, but still it was for work. When I started the Institute Platos, then we needed to shoot certain videos, promo videos, and hiring a camera was out of the question. So I bought my first phone, the Samsung S7 Edge, to shoot. So when I started for the love of cars, I had the S7 Edge, which take it, and then I upgraded to the S8 Plus because it gave me better storage and all that, which take it. So I've never personally bought a phone that wasn't going to do work. And yeah, so I thought the S8 would be a good offer, and I'm sure she regretted. So later on, I think she went back and she went back and upgraded the phone, but she spent more money than, I give you this. She went back and upgraded her phone, which I know took more out of her pocket. So the regret did not bring her back to me. You get it? So JK is sharing. Good morning, Hanifa. My girlfriend risks buying the oven she has, even after I advised her not to, with scientific explanation. She refused, and I paid for it for my sanity. It's too big for her. It has 4 gas cookers, 2 electric, too big. See, that's too big. That's like commercial, right? With a huge oven, that means more power consumption. Yes, when using the oven part. Wow, that's big. 6 burners are big. 6 burners are too big for a domestic oven. Domestic should be probably 2 gas, 2 electric. Yeah, good morning, Joseph. Good morning, Brian. Our agreement was that she would pay for her power if I bought her the oven. Going to when Navamu Power Express, what you want, for gas, for electric ovens, for electric burners, like 6 burners are too much, even 4, because I have an oven at home, 4 burners. I literally have never used the electric burners because they are too slow, so we only use the gas burners on top, and we have only used the bottom, the oven at the bottom. And I find that, of course, Umeme reduced the electric tariff, so which is good. But 4 burners are good. The 2 electric. I sometimes buy things just to be happy. No, me, I don't buy things to be happy. Like, I don't. Like, if it were, if microphone can, but if it weren't for the microphones, then I would S8 AG Yang. But of course, now this phone gives me more storage. It definitely gives me a better camera. And of course, sometimes I buy things for my peace of mind, because in a production manager wange ku Dynamo ambeera ko nangamba director, like when I had just moved to Kasangati, apparently I moved to Kasangati. I did not know that my production manager, then he was a very young man. Of course, I was also young. I was 26 when I moved to Kasangati, but my production manager yali ava Viku campus, so I think he was over 20. Let me see. My production manager was way younger, because I think he was 23. But very hardworking young man. So when I moved to Kasangati, when I bought that plot, the lady that signed, the vice chairperson that signed on my agreement, because Naring was signed on my agreement. Later on, one day I'm driving from home, and I find my production manager. I say, go why? He tells me I live here, and that's the place I went for the chairman to sign on my agreement. And my mother is the chairman here, chairperson I mean. Then I realized I was next to my production manager. Then one time we were going for a show, and my car is that director to swallow. And then he starts washing the car. So some of the things I do, like buying a better phone, sometimes when we're trying to swaza no swaza, like director now we need take a mwaka sente. Sometimes he does this. Sometimes my wife tells me I need now to wake kubanja uno. You get it? Like I've said even now, okubala nnyo nako kubijjeke. Ngenda genda nkendezaamu. Era nja kutandika noza nagula crown. Kati sikyo. Yatandika nagula crown. Yejo okunjikiza obutabala nnyo. But I mean jeke Uganda bwotabala nnyo ebiseera ebimu oyinza obutamalaako. Because Uganda bwotabala nnyo kiyinza okusala. Kiyinza okukulya omusana nga mungi. But anyway, that story of the oven, I'm glad that actually someone also shares the same story. And sometimes you can buy stuff and nobody actually objects. There are things that we buy and nobody objects. Like the golf that I bought, nobody objected because the price was too good. There are things that you will buy and nobody will even object. You go. Hey, you have used all of that. There are things that you will buy and nobody will ever object. Naenga, it's a mistake. Now, under those circumstances, you will know that I'll tell you an example. When I was about 24, 25, 23 there, I had a close friend of mine. Of course, but my place I think was nearer, was much more comforting for him, would chat and all that. I was still single. Hi. Good morning. Yes, good morning, Nathan. Hi, Arthur. Shouts to your wife in the background. We appreciate her. Appreciate her for what? One mulaivuza fe tajira kujja ko kutua background effects na sekam okitegeera ngena mugambo mutumidde. So that friend of mine was really close. One aspect that has always been with me is the aspect of saying the truth, whether it's comfortable or not. Me, I tell people the ugly truth. Okitegeera amina ngena mugambo. It's I tell people the truth whether it's comfortable or not. Nze n'abantu abakulu mbagamba ne jjajja wange yeyankuza naye bw'aba akola ekintu ekitanyuma mu mugamba awo nedda okitegeera. But in my early 20s, I made a number of mistakes, especially business blunders, because I didn't really have mentorship. That's why I say that people need to have mentorship. Actually, if you're watching this live broadcast and you're a young person, you need to have mentorship. Get someone that is older than you and talk to them about literally every decision you're going to make. Because if you don't talk to someone about the decisions you're going to make, you may make the wrong decisions, which will cost you a lot, and you don't want that to happen to you. So then I didn't have mentorship, so I only had my friends around. And one thing you need to understand is that sometimes when you have friends of the same age group, the experience you have is what they have. The mistakes you're going to make are what they are going to make. So you need to always have like mentorship, especially for us young men. So I made a number of mistakes, and I kind of got myself into a very huge debt. Was a very big debt. If you fail to heed to instruction, then this situation will teach you the hard way. Yeah, it taught me the hard way. So, but apparently, my friend saw me make these mistakes, but he kept quiet. So, in the end, Aban, wake up your brother. Aban, wake your brother up nicely. So, 2 years later, I talked to this after I realized that okay, I messed up. So I drive up to this guy and I ask him, because it was really tough on me, it was hard on me. Like, okay, Arthur, how did you get here? I literally had so many friends around me. People would come and stay at my place, and all these guys I didn't really consider, but this particular guy was really close to me. Like, we would literally be together all the time. So I go to him and I ask him, like, how did you see me make these mistakes and you did not talk to me? And he told me, Arthur, I was scared of making you angry. And when he told it to me, I looked him in the face and it made sense. Like, okay, but to me it doesn't make sense. Like, how can you be so scared to tell someone that you care about when he's making mistakes? You should literally be very open and tell him, okay, Arthur, I think you're messing up. I think you're making a very big mistake here. I think you should do this. I think you should do this. But he did not tell me that, and I did not really get angry with him, because I understand that so many people will see you make mistakes and they will literally be scared of telling you that you're making a mistake. And I've personally, sometimes I used to hold up, not tell people when they're messing up. But since that day, no. So since that day, I don't keep quiet when someone is making a mistake. When he was stuck on the Benz, I sat down. Actually, he was seated here. The mechanic was seated behind. I sat here and I turned like this and I told him, you know what? I know you have your money. You really want to buy a Benz, but this is why you hire me. You hire me to be your guardian angel, to advise you. Because it's his first car, the Crown is his first car, and I told him, since this is your first car, you have never driven a Benz, my idea is that you buy a luxurious Toyota. You buy a Toyota that is as luxurious as a Benz, and that will not make you regret, but the Benz might make you regret. And the guy stuck to his Benz and he said, but I want a Benz. And I said, okay, at least you will not say that I did not tell you. Okay, so when he stuck to the Benz idea, then we started making calls again for the Mercedes Benz, and that's when they told us, okay, you come to Nakawa, there is a Benz and all that. Yeah, so and then we went to Nakawa, and then God was with me, and then we saw this Crown, you get, and then he ended up not buying a Mercedes Benz at 42 million and bought the Crown at 30 million, and I'm sure he's too happy. Besides, he ended up saying that Benz motoka ya Chipakas, you get. A friend of mine built a very huge story house in Matuga, but he has always been a border guy. His wife left him and went to the house, but the guy didn't want because it's not yet complete. Tusirwaza ennyo ssebo ate ntya bannange. So your wife was a visiting professor. Era nga bwe mba mu dating, we were still young, in my early 20s, and I was renting, and at that time I had never thought about like things like commitment and all that. I've always been an ambitious person. I was just about business. So inze sisobola kugamba nti when I was dating that there was a certain girl eyajja n'alya sente zange ne mukyala wange nnyinte yazirya when we were dating. Actually nze ndabika nze nali ezize sicho.
I will tell them that story.
Tewalya ku sente zange nikakubuzaabuza. And not just her. Literally no girl has ever eaten my money.
You're that good.
Yes, awulira, I'm that good. Literally no girl has ever sisobola bagamba nti omuwala gundi yalya sente zange. Nze sente zange bwe ziba zaafiiranga in business ventures that I tried and they failed. And that was a lot of money though. So he is now forced to leave the rental and follow the wife, but he needs a car to operate well while living in Matuga. So okubala akuvuddeko. Naye I think JK mukwano gwo si mubazi. Kati he says he's buying a car in December na yembu tasuka 15 million. Wabula guy wanga abala. So in December he will join his wife kuba loneliness zimutami. I think JK, I think your friend actually Simubazi. I've literally been telling you guys that the way we pop a mortgage here in Uganda is by building what we can and entering and then finishing the rest while we are in there. That's our mortgage. Omuntu yenna alina amanyi okubala kati saawe ne wali badde okimanya nti mortgage yo okuyingira nyumba nga tennaggwa kuzimbako room n'oyingira ebira n'obizimba ng'oli awo. That's how we pay mortgage in Uganda, because bw'onosalawo oyingire mortgage y'ebbanja you will not finish. Okay, someone was telling me I should do English. Guys that prefer English, I'm really sorry. I'm a Muganda, and regardless of the fact that my boys cannot speak Luganda, my language kind of pops in all the time. Kastambanga so English only now. So I've literally been telling you guys the way we pay mortgage in Uganda is by actually building what we can at a moment and then entering and then finishing whatever we have to finish when we're in there. Like that's how we pay our mortgage. Kale, see you. That's how we pay our mortgage. If you have all the money to finish the house, finish it and enter. But if for me, I personally, and nobody has to follow this, it has never made sense for me that you build a house and then leave it there. You have invested like 50 million in the house, but because it's not complete, it needs another 80 million. You're not entering because, well, I've not yet made another 80 million to, you get it? So I personally believe that that's how we pay our mortgage. Instead of going to borrow 150 million from Housing Finance Bank, you build the first batch of the house. You build the first batch of the house and enter, and then you buy a bag of cement. You buy tiles. You get it? Just like that. That's how I built my first house in Kasangati, and that's how I'm doing Matuga. That's how some people build houses. Hey, how could this guy build this house? That's how sometimes my mechanic came to visit my house and he said, "Hey, Arthur, my God," and so on. I told him, but you build slowly by slowly, and then all of a sudden, because that's why some people say, million business. Oh, Uganda back. Someone puts 30 million in a house, literally because they have never touched 30 million at once, but they got 1 million and they started the foundation. Got another 1 million, they put Kavera. They got another million, you get it? And in 10 months, they probably had spent like 10 million, but they have never touched 10 million at once, you get? That's how we do the mortgage. But and if you don't follow the norm, because this is not norm in Uganda, you may try to think. When I was younger, I used to think I was special. I used to think that other Ugandans that do things a certain way are probably too normal for me, but there is a normal way of doing things in every culture. There is a normal way. In Uganda, the normal way to actually build a very nice house, the house of your dreams, is to build it bits by bits by bits by bits. And the people that don't want to build it bits by bits, that's why you find that URA is full of thieves. That's why you find that government ministries are full of thieves, because they want to build these gigantic things that they cannot afford with their salaries. And they want to build very fast because everybody has to know I work in URA or I work in Ministry of Works, so I have to be very fast, I make a lot of money. You get it? And then people end up stealing. Someone was giving us a story here, someone that came to buy a car, and he was telling us that the brother used to work in URA and he would literally come back with 4 million every day. Like, where do you get 4 million every day? Like, what job are you doing? Office job that gives you 4 million every day? If even the CEO of Centenary Bank doesn't make 4 million every day, and Centenary Bank is like the biggest bank in Uganda, you get it? So this guy works in URA and he comes back with 4 million every day, and it's normal for his family. You should take it. And like they would tell him when he was constructing his house, they would literally tell him stuff and he would never bargain. But when he lost the job in URA, then he started calculating. You get? So you guys need to understand that there is a normal way of doing things. Like when you're starting a business, you need 10 million. You don't put all the 10 million there. You put bits of the money and the business grows itself. You might have the 10 million, but put like 3 million in the business and see the business grow and insert more money as need arises. You get? Like that's the normal way of doing things. Normally when we have money, we think we are special. Unangamba chono taina sente zenyina. Trust me, I've been there. Unangamba chi ono munaku taina sente zenyina dababwafana na taso anagula perfume. You get it? But we are not really special. Patrick has been saying Patrick was saying age is not necessarily proportionate to advice, because I encounter situations where my older colleagues make irrational decisions. Definitely. Patrick, why I'm saying age is personally because the people that are my age group, people that I've seen that are in my age group, personally, I will not say that it applies to you. Personally, the people that are my age, they literally make worse mistakes than even I. But I've also seen people that are older than me that make bullshit mistakes, and I think, okay, like the old man I told you about that bought a pickup that is worth 10 million at 21, and then he still had to make repairs. When I literally gave him a pickup at 8 million that literally did not need them as many repairs as the one that he bought at 21, and he did not, and he decided to follow the advice of a person that was his age. So I think, Patrick, your stance is partly true, but also partly untrue, because age equals to experience. Now you may find that these people that make irrational decisions can actually give you very good advice. You remember the saying that do as I say, not as I do? Yeah, that might actually be true. That this person knows the right thing to do, but they don't actually do it. I'll give you an example. I'm a marketing professional, but it's just this year, no, last year, that I started actually doing the things that I tell people to do. And trust me, when you do the things the right way, things work out. So I started doing things the right way, and things are working out. Like when it comes to product development, I work on product development the way it's supposed to do, and things work out. When it comes to employee engagement, I do it the right way, and it works. When it comes to reimbursement, I do it the right way, and it works. When it comes to deadline, I do it the right way, and it works. Like there is a right way of doing things, there is a normal way of doing things in every profession, in every culture, in every country, and you can't go wrong with it. What's again? Nze ngabanja transport money, nze saga ba transport bagayi bange munansonyiwa when I was in my 20s. And you know I had my chip in a UFB, it was manual. Ngabawala bagula na amafuta. Ngabagula amafuta tine tutuke wange ne bagula n'emmere, because I literally did not have the money. Of course I had the money, but I did not know that I had the money. Ochegere, you know how you have the money but someone is keeping it, and they are keeping it really nicely for you, and you don't even know, and you be broke like literally all the time. So that's what used to happen to me, and until I started messing up, like when I graduated campus at around 23. Yeah. So but nze sagaba transport money ne kakati sigaba transport money nze simanyi. Of course kati mchara wange ali waka kati era nze muteeka mu amafuta, but transport money wasn't. Yeah, Pasco Gawala. That's I can't read it. Ngawalaba. After engine beams 2000 is how many kilometers per liter? It can actually go up to 10 to 12 depending on the condition, the plugs you put there, the air cleaner, how you're driving, so many factors, but it can go up to 12 kilometers per liter. For example, the Crown that we bought was 2500 cc, but this Pakistani guy that sold it to us told us that it goes up to 10 kilometers, and it's 2.5 cc. Of course, it's VVTi CVT, so it has a lot of combination, a lot of things that combine to give it good mileage. My woman wants a Sieta in June, yet my money has other commitments for now. I told her I wasn't buying her a car this year because it isn't in my plans. Kati aujeke you a focused man. Me, I told my wife osoka kuiga moroka ya manual. Ira yesterday she drove it, like when we got off the tarmac. I even got out of the car because like there are things that seem automatic, like the clutch. You let the clutch go proportionally as you press the accelerator. Like those are simple things. You need to know that when I'm off a hill, then I go to number 3, but she's literally number 2. So I told her, you know what, let me get out of your car, you drive, I'll find you. And she drove. She even went up the hills with the car not stalling. She drove. So now I'm going to start getting out of the car and taking a border, and she finds me at home. I'm sure she will practice like 2 weeks. We'll go start getting a permit. So, and when she lands properly and she can actually take me now on a tarmac, then we start thinking about a car. She has decided to buy it herself in June using her savings. I told her to go ahead if that's what she really wants, but I'm not giving her money. Now given my commitments, let her buy the car, by the way, JK. If she has the money, let her buy the car. She'll actually love it more if she buys it herself. Or probably she can bring half and you give her half, because I'm sure even with your commitments, you can contribute half. JK, buy a car for your wife. I can now plan for my Harrier since she will have fuel efficient car. So I have bigger commitments now that I can't pause for a car. Okay, I used to buy phones, DVD players, etc. for babes at Mook back in 2000. Yeah. You guys. JK used to spend. Okay, it's not even about having the money. I know guys that literally don't have money, but they spend on chicks. Which the guy because it keeps putting me off, and it has even taken off my people until the end when it actually gets off. So the topic today is what you regret owning one. And owning one, by owning one, we literally did not say just a car. Owning one can apply to a house. It can apply to items like phones. It can apply to household items like sofas. It can apply to houses. And I think one of the reasons why you will end up regretting is because if you take things rush, if you rush the process. JK, you had love in Martha's voice. I used to make at least 4 million a month, but I ate that money at will. What would I needed guidance? You really needed guidance, JK. I think when we are young, when we are young, we really need guidance. That's why if you have a little brother, guide him. If you have a little brother, guide him, advise him, make sure he doesn't, if he makes the mistakes, let him make the mistakes knowing that he's actually making mistakes. And that's what I make sure, because me, I personally, I would not say I have brothers, I have cousins, and I make sure to tell them so that when they finally mess up and the results come, they will not say I did not tell them. So I try as much as possible to make it clear to them that what you're doing is actually a very big mistake. You should not do it. So one of the reasons, like I said, is rushing the process. You know, even owning a girlfriend, because apparently owning a girlfriend, you should not say the literal word is not owning, but having a girlfriend. If you rush the process, for example, you are going to definitely regret. Remember when we were talking about SUVs, and we said some people are not ready to own SUVs, but they buy. Even when you have a lot of money, you should ideally start with a small car and not an SUV. SUVs are good, like the Kawundo. Double cabin pickups are good. These vans are really nice cars, but the fact is, some people are just not ready to buy a car that will consume 7 liters, a liter for every 7 kilometers. Some people, you should start and actually first afford to fuel a car that will take you 15 kilometers per liter, you get, before they actually go to cars like the Prado. But you find someone buying their first car and their first car is a Prado, which take there is no way you're not going to regret that decision, especially if you're a young person that is still making small money. Because right now, a person that is fresh out of campus, let's imagine you went to campus, because not everyone goes to campus. A person that went to campus on average, they'll first make about $1 million shillings. Now, $1 million shillings minus rent, minus eating, minus transport, minus clothing, airtime and data, you get. Let's imagine you can save some money, and after a year you have like a 6 month. And if you have a 6 month, you decide to go and buy a RAV4 instead of buying like a Vitz or a Starlet. And the RAV4 will consume a liter for every 7 kilometers. Yet a Starlet would have consumed 10 kilometers per liter. You get. So you start overspending, and literally maintenance of a RAV4 is too expensive. It's a fact. It's expensive compared to like a Starlet. Very soon you'll be regretting that decision, because it wasn't the time for you to buy a RAV4. You rushed the process. Rushing the process of marriage. Some people rush marriage. Now wasama are not literally not just Kaundo, because Kaundo can be undone at any time. But people rush. Now Papa Naga and Uganda again. They rush, they do Kwanjura, they do wedding, like someone is chasing them. And the fact is that the regrets will come whether you like it or not. If you rush. And rushing can be like you date a person for like you literally date a person for 5 months, and then you do Kwanjula, like how Rasa does. Like when you do things like that, there is no way you will not regret. You get it? The regret is going to come. It will come back and bite you, because 5 months you have literally not known that person. You have not known mujirengera benzi obaji bagitabatya mujiraba. Hey, you people, now it's like after buying that Mercedes Benz, I will start thinking there is a senga of mine that is bewitching me. Yet I bought a Benz, a car that I could not afford. The GLE, it's a very nice car. And by the way, one thing we did not know when we were growing up, some of those men that used to drive the SUVs, actually most of the people that used to drive the SUVs that we used to admire, Bondabadi of Gaza company. I'm telling you, there are some people, relatives of my grandmother, that used to drive double cabin pickups, Land Cruisers, Pajeros. You get it? Literally, when I grew up, I realized these guys did not even have a car. They did not. Some of them bought cars when they're in their 50s. All along those cars, they used to drive those cars. But when we were young, we used to think, what? They used to drive company cars. Some of them were drivers. You get? And then we learn when we grew up. You think, because you can afford to buy it, then you think you can also afford to fuel it. Kumbe, the guy was driving fuel bought by the company he works for. You get? So rushing the process is one reason you will regret owning anything, literally. Like you rush the process, you rush a relationship, you rush buying a big car, you literally rush buying a car. You remember there is a time when there's a broadcast where I did people that should not be buying certain cars. Okay, and then we went into this guy Maslow and his hierarchy of needs. and then we say that which level someone should be buying. Kakajamu mukalaba. This is the jam that goes to Bukoto. Some people actually come and drive this one way. But those that are fearless, they drive the one way. But double cabin. So literally rushing the process. And I think I've personally learned the hard way. I see men that make lots of money. Like I know a duo that they do business together. They are two guys, and they literally make like 500 million a year together, of course. And I think this year they are projecting to make about $1 billion. But one of them drives a Fielder, the other drives a Nua. And the guy that has driven a Nua has driven his Nua for literally like 6 years. So I think having this reality check with these guys, like seeing them every day, knowing how much they make, and seeing them staying a little, I'll call it humble, because for people that can make 500 million, a Fielder would not be the car that person is driving, but this person is driving a Fielder, and you find someone bamuongeza omusara nafuna 1.5, and all of a sudden nagenda neyewola Subaru XT from the bond. They go and get a Subaru XT on date, 35 million. Every month they take 800 off to pay for the car. You get it? And then he drives it for some time. Now I'm not going to say revenue or net profit, because these guys literally don't pay anyone. They have employees, but they literally don't pay them. So if they make 500 in revenue, they will probably spend like 60, and the rest they divide amongst themselves. Okay, let's say they spend, let's say 150 million. So they literally keep 350 million. And by Ugandan standards, that's a lot of money to keep. That's money that people will die without making. Yeah. So yeah, it matters, but for them it doesn't matter. I know the kinds of people I'm talking about. They are these traditional businessmen that will literally make money but not spend it on anyone. So, but they have spent most of their money in buying like things like land. Yeah. So but I've seen them be humble. They don't rush the process. The only process they probably rushed is having kids. And probably that's where most of their money goes, in school fees. Yeah. But anyway, rushing the process will make you regret anything. Like the person that I've told you about, the person that bought the oven, that person rushed the process. Even starting a business, if you rush the process of business, you literally regret. And I think some of the biggest losses I've made in business have been because I rushed the process. I was literally not ready to start, and I started because I had the capital, and I literally lost all the money all the times. Now I don't rush the process. I learned the hard way. That was literally before 2015. Like when I turned 25, I sobered up, and that's when I came back to Dynamo. And literally with Dynamo, my people have literally been asking me, Director, Rachita took on a film, why don't we make TV shows? And I literally told them it doesn't make business sense to me. For the guys that want to make TV shows, that want to make movies, you're in the wrong place. I don't make movies when we won't make money out of them. You get it? And this is literally what I've been telling them until we were ready. And then we started making some work. And when we make work, trust me, it will pay off. And not rushing the process, knowing where you're good, because I know what my company is good at. I know what my teams are good at. And when my team sets their mind to do stuff, they are unbeatable. They are unbeatable. Like literally the only thing that will beat them would be witchcraft. And they don't believe in witchcraft. They believe in working smart and working hard. So I don't rush the process anymore. And that has helped me, and I'm sure if you watch this podcast, you realize that literally every time someone rushes a process, like JK, your girlfriend rushed the process of buying a very big oven when she has no need for the big oven, and that came back to bite her. Like 6 burners, even a family of 6 doesn't need 6 burners. 4 burners are enough. 2 gas burners, 2 electric burners. So, and it came back to bite her. So I cannot buy. Let me try the next roundabout. So the next reason you will regret, but you regret owning something or buying something is panicking. Doesn't Pearl Magic pay for content? Mizugo Express must be getting. They pay, but okusamba akaji is where the issue comes. Kusamba akaji nati kusamba jeke njabagamba. We have been really working really hard. But your Corolla engine sounds good, yet soon getting replaced. Yeah, kubange nyamuka oil, and it puts oil in one of the plugged places. So, but it still works. It still works properly. Actually, my mechanic was telling me when jija munji muguze yajja fune moroka mwagiteeka. Yeah. So hey, you bought it. Yeah, but still the regret is in there. The regret is still in there. Yeah, so panicking is one other reason why anyone would regret owning or buying something. When you panic, because panic leads us to making so many bad decisions. So many bad decisions. I'll give you an example. When I had just bought this car, because for me it was a new car. It was old, but for me it was new. It felt good driving a Corolla that has a VVTi engine. It looked really good inside. There are pantins, but when I had just bought it, I gave it to someone and they washed it, and they washed it very nicely. And it looked really nicely, really nice. And for me it was a new car. So I kind of panicked and went to start fixing stuff, shock absorbers, bushes, and it ate quite some money. And later on, when I realized that I had panicked, then I started regretting why I panicked. That's why normally I tell you, when you buy a car, do only the things that will stop it from moving and drive it for a minimum of 3 months without touching anything. Why? I did drive this car for 3 months before I started doing those things, and it came back to bite me. But if you do this for 3 months, okay, in those 3 months you will have realized what you can actually bear, what you can't bear, because this is Uganda. And you have bought a used car. You need to understand that a used car will literally never sound like a new car. Kati mulimu ebikubagana mu moroka eno nga twabimanyira. Mulimu byengendo okwejjiramu, and there are things that I know that even a mechanic will not take care of, because even mechanics literally. So you need to understand that because kakati no mulimu kulambula no roundabout ye Masanafu. So the guys that don't know, that have never been this side, this is the Masanafu roundabout, and when you go up here, you head all the way to Mengo, Bulange Mengo, and then Mengo Hospital, yeah. And then along the way you can branch off and go to Kasubi, and then along the way you can also go to Namirembe, and then along the way you can go to Rubaga, Natete, and all those places, yeah. So literally when you panic, you see how I panicked and started fixing things that I didn't even need to fix. I'll give you an example of another person that bought a car with me here, and he panicked. And when he panicked, he thought that makanika gunamukwasa yali amubba ate n'agenda ne bamubba bubi nnyo somewhere okitegeera, and then they repaired things that did not really need to be repaired, that you could buy even cheaper if you are buying a new thing, and that was a result of panic. And panic is natural with human beings, especially if you don't know panic. After a friend bought a Kawundo UBF at 4 million, is that okay? Yeah, I think it's fine. It's fine. Na yeye ajikebera. Because of course ojja kwesanganga oli agitunda ng'erimu ebi repairs yayitayagala kukola, naye nga ate if you're the person that bought it and then you realize that okay, maybe I need to repair this, it will not it will not be such a big deal. Because sometimes, JK, when we buy things, for us they are new, but the person that is selling to us oyinza okwesanga bamugamba gula shocks probably, okay? And I'm just saying, you may find that they told this person who owned this car buy shocks, and he realized that he had driven this car and selling it at 34 million was okay. Probably he bought it at like 40 and has driven it for some time, and it has made his money. Like for example, personally, the Corolla Sijibanja. So if you came and gave me like 8 million, if I was selling, 8 million would be good with me. But you'll find that the repairs that you're going to do in this car, if I were told to do repairs to put it in tip-top condition the way I would ideally want, it's too much money compared to how much I think it would be worth after. So, but if a new person got it, those repairs would mean totally nothing to them. They would be a piece of cake. So that's why I'm saying that it's a fair deal. Let her just enjoy her car. It's literally flawless. He's not new to cars. If he's not, then he might have got a deal. He might have got a deal. Good morning, Bill Gadgets. He might have got a good deal, eh? Yeah, it's actually fair. UBF Kawundo 34. It's a good deal because people are selling you AQ Kawundo at literally 19, and UBF is really a good deal. Arthur, why is it that cars with UBC series are rare? I think they released a few cars with the UBC series. I don't know why. Probably they were not supposed to do UBC, because do you see a USC anywhere? Yet there are used to plenty of UABs and plenty of UADs. Eh? So probably they were not supposed to produce a UBC. Then they had produced a few of them, and then they realized, okay, we made a mistake, and then they abandoned the entire thing. Then they went to UBD. It might be the issue. I don't know why they don't. They skip the C. I don't know, even USC is not there. Yeah, it might be a technical thing, something that is known internally. I would probably ask someone in URA and I see. Yeah, so we have seen why sometimes we regret having things. Panic is a very bad thing. You see, even the people that are bought, some abortions that go wrong, some abortions that go wrong are done in panic mode. You'll find that someone is pregnant and they panic, then they go to a clinic that doesn't know how to do abortions. I'm not saying that abortion is good, but I've been to Norway. When I was in Norway, and that time I was 16, and then I had this girlfriend of mine, she was also 16, and we literally didn't use protection, and she was like, okay, what if I get pregnant? And then I asked her, then what we do? And she says, no, but abortion is legal here. In Norway, abortion is legal, and probably I think the entire Europe, and they don't panic. She gets pregnant, she's not ready, they go and do abortion the proper way. You get? But here, because it's illegal, people do it panicking, and they do it wrongly, and girls end up losing their lives, which is literally what we don't want. So panic is bad. So you don't want to panic when you're doing anything. The other thing that you don't want to do when you own something is asking for too much advice. Too much advice is bad. So literally what I mean is getting advice from so many different people. That would literally be like the wrongest thing you can do. When you get advice from 10 people about the same thing, like literally each of these people has different experiences. Some of them don't even have experience, but you're asking them for advice. Like you go to someone that has never driven a car, for example, and ask them, they'll literally tell you the car they admire. They'll not advise you properly. So when you're going to build a house and you're looking for advice, you should probably go to someone that has built a house, go to an engineer, go to a builder. You don't go to a bar and then start talking to your fellow drunkards about houses. They'll give you advice, but they'll not give you good advice. I don't know if I make sense. And that's not something you want to do. You've bought your first car and you're getting advice from a first-time car owner like yourself, a person that is driving a first car, and you're asking them for advice. And then you literally get like 4 of them to tell you, each one of them is telling you different things. And I can tell you that the worst advice that someone can give you is go to my mechanic. That's the worst advice that someone can give you. Because like I've said, all mechanics are learners in Uganda. They literally, apart from a few. And for those that have the theory, they literally don't have the practical. Those that have the practical, they don't have the theory. So it's gambling. So I think personally, that's why normally when someone tells me my car has done this and this, and then I ask them, what has your mechanic done? Have they tried to do this? Like the last part I ever give you is like, go to my mechanic, because even my mechanic has messed up things in my car before. Like my steering rack has a problem, And he literally told me he has the best guy that can repair a steering rack. You can feel the sound when I'm turning. Ooh, that's the steering rack that was repaired. Like literally, my mechanic has also done things that were poorly done in my car. So me telling you that my mechanic is the best in Kampala would be literally telling you that I've seen him do everything. He's good, yes, he's good, but I can't tell you he's the best. Because if you go and get disappointed by him, then you'll say, and that's why it's literally the last thing I tell you. So getting advice would literally be from so many people is literally one of the biggest mistakes you can ever make. So I'm thinking, get a few people that you can trust, 2, 3, and then get advice from there. Sometimes even one person to advise you is better. I'll tell you that I personally got mentorship from one person. They inspired me, like they have achieved stuff. They inspired me, they have achieved stuff and all, but I did not go to them for advice because but they don't have the experience that I need. Let me see. Okay, too much advice is one of the struggles I faced with my first boss, who was non-Ugandan. He used to do forum shopping and he had a cocktail of confusion in his brains. Who has used Uncle Mo's services here? I don't want to talk about Uncle Mo. He's a performing artist like me, so literally I've never used his services, but so advice, getting too much advice is one of the wrong things. And I think Patrick, this thing most foreigners suffer with it, because if Ochu is staring young Chekol, that was work of my mechanic. So every person has their advantages and their disadvantages. I think the best thing you can do to yourself is a mechanical engineer. Come mechanic. Yeah, but it's possible that Uncle Mo is a finger mechanic. Korachino. Just the way it would be, JK, if you started a garage. I doubt you could ever be a mechanic that actually goes down and gets dirty with your hands. So I think Uncle Mo is that smart mechanic that says and I'm sure he has boys that do the hard work for him. I have never met a mechanical engineer who is a mechanic. But if he's a mechanical engineer come mechanic, I'm sure he's a smart one. And all that. He knows all the processes of what it's supposed to be. Yeah, but literally one thing that will make you regret ever doing anything is getting a lot of advice. I think I've always been passionate about cars. I'll share this story now. I've always been passionate about cars. So when the time came, I had some money and I wanted to branch out. I had 2 options. Remember, I've told you guys I had a band and disco, and I had 2 options in my head. I had 2 options: import my first car, which was a Noah at that time, or start a band. Literally everyone was telling me to start a band because I had done like 2 songs and they thought I was really good, and I followed the advice of the many. There was only one person that told me to actually get a car. She was my teacher at MOOC. She was into the business, by the way. She has always been importing cars, and she told me to import. And literally everyone else told me to start a band, and that was one of the biggest mistakes in my life. One of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my life, starting a band. And of course it was a learning thing, but it was a very big mistake. I don't know if I make sense. So getting so many people to advise you is one of the worst things, especially when they're advising you on something that is going to literally affect your life. I think that's one of the worst things that you can ever do, and it will make you regret. And although in a way I don't regret starting that band, the band, because for us people that have not really been into formal employment, I think some of those mistakes that we make, they educate us in ways that the people that are employed formally get to learn from their bosses and through their experiences at work. So I learned so much about people, human resource management in that band, and I think it has helped me a lot in it has helped me a lot with my current work, because right now I literally don't have people that are unsatisfied at work. I have so many people that are satisfied at work, and we are doing lots of great things. I'm not an auto mechanic and I wouldn't be good at car repair. My practice has nothing to do with cars. Mpozi wangamba mwe mechanical muzimba bridge. They usually do automotive and power, most upgrade on job. I literally do structure analysis for 70% of my job. But how do you be mechanical engineer when you do structure? Structure is supposed to be construction engineer, but you're a mechanical engineer. How, you guys? That's why I think katinange bwenkudira byakatemba byange bye nasoma nange oyinza obutabitegeera, but something is not right, something connecting that agamba ati oli guy, I can't believe that. I can't believe that. A mechanical engineer doing structural analysis. Why are you not a structural engineer? You get ata ebya engineering birekera mbirese mbivuddeko kubanga a mechanical engineer doing structural analysis, it should be a structural engineering. Mu yakasound yakakali moroka yanga ka steering. That was the work of my mechanic, and it's good by the way. But I think literally because these guys nabo bintu babihigira ku mulimu, and I think I've misjudged so many people in so many ways. I will tell you that all my work, first of all as a marketer, and second, okay, first of all as a drama artist, filmmaker, and secondly as a marketer, I don't make mistakes. I don't remember when they said every mistake in art is a design. I personally don't make mistakes. I see mistakes coming. I smell mistakes. You see how JK you smell mistakes in structural analysis, structural engineering probably. You smell the mistakes a mile away. In my practice as a marketer, as a munakatemba, I don't make mistakes. And I literally thought that when someone says I'm a mechanic, they should not make mistakes at all. There is no room for error. Personally, when we make errors in film or in dramas, we see them. I see them coming, and I prepare for the death. When it's marketing, I know when something will not work out, and I see it coming, and then I prepare for it. But apparently, I had an engineer on my house that has been doing engineering for the past like 50 years, and a nyumba yange netonya. And I'm thinking to myself, from Sajjo mukuru emyaka ensanvu azimbidde emyaka egisuka mwana egisuka mwataano osereka otya ennyumba naye kutonyako tetuganye. It's a new fashion in Uganda, but how do you roof a house with all your experience, with all the roofers you know, and still it leaks? Because I've literally never seen a mistake happen and I don't know, because every mistake costs money. So, and I think that's a mistake that I've made, and I'm teaching myself to understand that most of the guys in Uganda are not professionals at what they do. So they are literally gambling with everything. Next time. And going to school, one of the things I learned was that you need to create a system for everything. You need to create a system for everything and document the system, so that next time when you try it and it doesn't work, you can just twerk the system a little, and then things change for the better. But literally, most Ugandans don't have systems because they don't even know how to create a system. Good morning. Even civil engineers can study structural analysis in their course. There is no course in Denmark called structural engineering, by the way. So structure is mechanical, especially the steel skeleton of the building. So JK mumukola mitayimbwa. So JK decides how deep the beam of the flat should go. That it should go 50 feet under. Now I get mechanical because the mitayimbwa is mechanical. I'm trying to understand engineering now. Good morning, Arthur. Curious to know what you think about the Nissan Note 1.5 liter in summary. The Nissan Note 1.5 liter is a good car. It will be expensive to maintain, but it's a good car. It will be expensive to maintain, first of all, because there are no specialist mechanics. And remember, we all have mechanics that are gambling in Uganda. But second of all, because the spare will be very expensive for you. But the good thing with the Nissans, just like Mercedes-Benz and all, is that when spare is there, it's good spare, it's original, but it's really expensive. And sometimes if you get a bad mechanic, you'll end up having Toyota spares in a Nissan. Why? Because that's literally what they know Toyota. Most mechanics in Uganda know Toyota, and you'll find that but it's a good car. Nissan is not bad. Like I've said, even Volkswagen is not bad, even Benz is not bad. The mechanics just don't understand the spare is expensive and all, and so many of those things that are literally literally mechanic. Yeah, so today I'm working out of office. I'm back in studio working on some, not singing though. Still nkola bintu byange bya katemba bayi katemba wange gwenkola kati ali advance. Yeah, so network etawanyiza, but I've reached my workstation. Regardless, we have already covered the three points. The reasons you will regret ever owning something, and by something we mean a car, a house, a phone, a laptop, anything. And we say the first thing is rushing the process. The second thing is panicking. The third reason was getting so many advice from so many people. A lot of advice from so many people. A lot of advice from so many people, and you don't want to do that. And of course, rushing the process is buying things when you're not ready, or owning things that you are literally not ready for, and that's something you don't want to do. So to avoid regretting owning or buying something, so a good alternative for the not any suggestion, of course, the Vitz, the Spacio, the Sienta, the Raum, IST. There are so many alternatives. Now I'm talking about Toyotas because Toyotas are the only reliable brand that I know. You get it? Yeah. So is a model car on the 1.5cc Corolla. There is a Primo that is 1.5cc. There's Axio. There's Belta. Fielder. There's so many alternatives in Toyota that you can actually buy instead of the Nissan. Good morning, Lukwago Benedicto. So good morning, bro. Most Ugandans, special construction, just gamble. Man, Nanyiga. And you know how you literally pay someone 100k every day because you're trying to avoid stupid mistakes. You pay this person because he actually teaches builders, by the way. That's why I'm telling you guys, omwana kufuba nnyo ofune sente omwana wagende Makerere agende ekyambo agende mu university ez'amaanyi. Bino simanya ntwala mwana ku YMCA. Simanya ntwala mwana wa. I'm not saying they are bad, but they are, even universities have specializations. I've heard that Chambogo is good at construction, engineering and all that. Makerere, I think, is good at what is Makerere good for? Business. Even these places are good for something. Now, you get a kid omutwale ku institute somewhere ambo asoma okuzimba. Agenda kola ono byakola because ono yabasomesa. Okitegeera. Ate nga musasula sente nyingi nnyo. Because giving someone 100,000 a day is not little money. Okitegeera. Ate nga omwe emitwalo 10 kuyimirira awo naye era ne bimulema. Anyway, the good thing I did with fixing the leakage, because the nyumba yange is hidden roof, the good thing I did with that is I did not panic. I took my time and I got a guy that actually fixed it. And now I actually found even alternatives that can be done. Mabagendo kuzimba hidden roof, you can actually ask me one day and I show you the best alternative for hidden roof. Because there is something that is done for flats that should be done for all hidden roofs. It's like a permanent solution for hidden roofs. Anyway, guys, I have to go. And I have a very limited time in the studio. I'm per day only like 3 hours. JK, Solomon, Chris Da Vinci, Gaetano, Martha, director Martha Academy. Tusanikeno jiranga Martha Academy eri mukono kumpi nechi. Mukono Junior School. Stephen, Gideon, Council Patrick, Hanifa, Pascal Joseph, Brian, Daniel, Nathan, Moses Tabula, Alan, Abby, Bill Gadgets, October, Isaac, Lukwago Benedict, Chris Da Vinci, and everyone else. Alimo Kamori, I don't take your data and your time and your effort for granted. Not so many people actually can take the time and come and watch these broadcasts. And the people that are downloading them and watching them later, I don't take you for granted. The people that give me business, just stars, yes. The people that give me business, thank you very much. I don't take it for granted. Don't forget, I do pre-purchase inspection. I help you get a good car. I come with a mechanic to make sure the mechanical condition is good, as well as the paperwork and everything checks out. And we do that for a small fee of 400,000 only. And trust me, we have a good track record of doing that. Bond, you definitely want to save some money, because tekijja kuyamba kugenda mu bond ogende weka ogule motoka million 3 ng'osobola ogifuna ku 3 otuweeyo emitwalo n'obe ng'osevinze bbiri nkaaga. I wish you a very nice day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow at 7:15. Ciao.